Hey everyone, welcome to the February Live. I have some announcements. We're going to do a Q&A, and then I'm going to go over the 2024 inbound, what are they calling it? Inbound FBA shipping fees, shipment fees, because I feel like it kind of, everyone got so hung up on the low inventory level fees, and that may or may not affect you at all. And this thing is actually going to affect all of us. So we're going to jump into that, but I'm going to put that towards the middle because it's like a lot and, fees are never fun. Hey, Brian, hopefully you guys are not falling away over there in California. I just read an article about all the rain you guys are getting. So that's crazy. Okay. First announcement, hi Janet, is that the Dallas Meetup. Today is the last day if you're going to come to the Dallas Meetup to get the early bird tickets. The regular tickets will be there all the time until like literally I think I turn it off sometimes the same day. I had some people in the Vegas Meetup message me and I turned it back on so that they could grab tickets. So if you're for sure going to come, you can grab tickets now at $69 and tomorrow they will be $89. So that is at yoursellingguide.com/meetup. If you want to grab your Dallas meetups, it's April 13th, downtown Dallas. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be, that's a Saturday, and it will be like 6 to 8. Technically, that's where the open bar part of it is, but we can still hang out afterwards, which I'm sure that we will. I purposely made my flight later in the morning because, or like mid-morning, because typically I will fly like super early and then I not necessarily a night person, but I'm ready to hang out all night in Dallas. So I'm looking forward to it. I will also have up, it may not be up until Wednesday because I'm out and about tomorrow, but there's options to do one-on-one, either in Fate, like we can sit down and have coffee, or we can go sourcing together. It's your choice. So that will be up for the Dallas meetup. That'll be happening on Friday the 12th if you want to. So look for that later this week, and I will be definitely emailing out all this information or texting it. Wherever you follow me, I'll make sure you know about it. So if you want to do that. We've got Devil Angel, that's a funny name. Deborah, hi Deborah. Tab Guy, hey. We have Keisha, Al, Keisha from Michigan, Dawn. Is anybody doing it online? The meetup, I don't have an online meetup. Those happen every month in the Bola group, though. We just had ours on this Wednesday. And then Brian was asking me, I think he wanted to do them on Wednesday. So originally I had it for March, Brian, on Thursday, but I'm going to move it to Wednesday for you because it doesn't really matter to me either way. Okay. Also, I have one-on-one coaching now available. It's not starting until March, but the calendar is up, so you can book. You want a 30-minute one-on-one call with me? That is available. It's just on. I have a link on my website, like in my menu, and then I also have it in the store. And at some point, I'll have like a page for it and a better link. But right now, that's all I got. Okay. I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I got. Lawrence from VA, got Warner. I'm excited. A lot of you from the February coaching group are here, so thank you for joining me here as we talk about the fees that are not going to be fun. Okay, I have a giveaway guessing game that I just came up with because I just finished filming my video for Sunday, so it's going to go over my most profitable products from 2023, my top 10 most profitable products. So this is the game and how you can win. The winner is going to get, you have to, it's like not Wheel of Fortune. What is it? Price is Right. You have to be the closest without going over. So how much profit those 10 items made total for 2023? My total profit for 2023 was $59,152. So that was my total. Now, how much of that dollar amount, so you have to guess the dollar amount of profit I made from 10 of the most profitable items in 2023. You could comment it here. If you're watching this on the replay, you could comment. All of the live comments were going to be there. And I'm going to pick one winner, whoever comes the closest without going over, and you're going to win $200 PayPal cash, which I will send to you on Monday, the 26th. I'm going to close it Saturday the 24th because the video comes out on Sunday, and so you will know if you watch the video. So you have until Saturday to guess. Again, the winner will be the closest without going over. So you can guess at any point that you want to. Okay. Any questions in the chat so far? If not, I'm going to go to my text questions. After I scroll by all my notes about the fees. Okay. Raquel asks, could you please go over how to create the double seal on beauty products like shampoos and lotions? I'm sorry, I'm looking over here. That's where my iPad is. So there's actually this thing called the gripper tape. You can get it on Uline and you can also get it on Amazon. I actually looked to see if I could order from Uline and sell it on Amazon, but it's basically the same price. So you can get like a bunch of them on Uline, or you could just buy it one off on Amazon. So I haven't used it yet. I am going to order it though. But if you put the gripper tape around it's made for beauty stuff like liquids that'll seal around the top of it, and then you polybag it, that will be your double seal. I haven't seen Amazon like enforce it or anything like that, but definitely it's safe to just be doing that. So I haven't ordered, but I'm going to order from Amazon. I should have ordered it yesterday when I ordered extension cords. So you can put that gripper tape. Actually, I think I might get it from Uline. I sell a lot of beauty. Anyways, these are just my random thoughts. So the gripper tape, it's really good. You can use it on make that double seal. So I always polybag stuff. If you're getting to be like, maybe you have a bundle of, I don't know, 6 shampoos or something, you probably want to box them just because they're getting heavy. But I would still probably polybag all 6 in a polybag and then put them in the box just in case, or you could even do it separately, but in case one gets empty, there's I don't know how many people watch this. There's a soap at TJ Maxx, and that thing is always spilling. I've spilt it all over myself a couple of different times. So that is something you really want to make sure you're polybagging. Okay. You guys add like crazy numbers to your guesses, like add some extra. You're all putting double zeros. You got to be the closest without going over. So guess crazy. You could guess as many times as you want. Joanne asked, I'm doing all FBM and I want to transition to FBA, but sometimes I've noticed when I compare the fees, it seems like FBA would be cheaper than FBM. How is that possible? So some things are you make more money doing FBA, and I know when with all the fees it kind of sounds crazy, but it's when you take into account the shipping. And if you use something like RevSeller, which is what I use when I'm looking on, on the product page, RevSeller tells you what you'll make FBM, but it's factoring in where it could possibly go. So it's factoring in the shipping. And so when you're just looking at it, I have a bundle that I made and I know how much it costs me to ship. It's only $6 to ship. RevSeller is guessing that it's going to make $8.50. So I actually technically would make more money doing an FBA. But when I fixed it, knowing what it really costs to ship, it looks like I make more money FBM now. However, I think having both is really important, FBA and FBM, but I think really to scale, you need to be doing FBA more because there's only so many orders you can physically mail out in a day, right? So the more you can have it spread across everywhere and sending as much as you can in FBA, the more you're going to be able to sell and just grow your business. So definitely a healthy mix of both. And I have a podcast episode coming up about like when I choose to do which one and like what goes into all that. But I would recommend, if you're scared of either one, just do it. Do it now, do it before Q4, because you're really going to want to have both of them. I don't know. Actually, that's not true. I do know of one shortage. It's not really a shortage. Something just stopped being made. That is going on right now, and you can FBM it and make a lot of money on it. But anytime, like there was chlorine 2 or 3 summers ago that was shortage, there was the cold medicine last year. When you watch my video on Sunday, you're going to see almost all of that is stuff I FBM'd, because you have to take advantage of those shortages to make profit real fast, or at least it feels like that, before the shortage ends. So anytime you hear of a shortage on the news, definitely take note of it and make sure you are having FBM in your mix. Okay, we got all the guesses. We have Did I make more? And so, good question, Katie. I don't know. I can look it up on seller. Gross profit wise, I mean, not gross profit, gross sales wise, I made more in 2022 because in 2022, I had a ton of like premium, not, it was premium beauty, but it was a premium beauty category on Amazon that I was able to do. So let me look. I'm doing it on seller board right now. Oh yeah, I should have known this. I made way more money in 2022. It was all that beauty stuff. So in 2022, I made 79,746 profit, so almost 80, and then this year I did 60 because that's a really good deal of beauty stuff I got last year. That was, or 2 years ago. That was 2022 is when I was selling that $1,200 like face cream basically, and I think I sold like 9 of them or something, and they made $900 profit. So that was a great deal. That's why you want to get out there and look for your liquidators or discount stores. Do ask around. There's a lot of frugal people out there, and they will definitely know like where the good stores are, and check them out for yourself. Tab asked, for FBA, where do you purchase the least expensive poly bags? I usually do FBM, and I want to do FBA. I get all mine from Amazon. There is this place called I Love Supplies. It's just ilovesupplies.com. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it, but if you Google I Love Supplies, it'll show up. I've gotten their poly bags before. They're not necessarily all that cheaper. I like Spartan Industrial, and that's what I've been using forever. Spartan Industrial, they don't come apart when you seal them, so they're permanent. So whoever you're buying your poly bags from, you want to make sure that they are permanent and not resealable. Because if they're resealable, if you have a bundle, something falls out, now the customer doesn't get it, and now they're mad. Ask me how I know. I have that feedback on my account. And so you want to make sure they're permanent. But my personal favorites are Spartan Industrial. I buy them by the thousands. They come in like a little box. They have like for if you're a new seller, they have like 4 sets or 4 bundles or whatever. I think you get 200 of 4 different sizes. Yeah, the I Love Supplies are nice. I just didn't like them as much, but they're good. Okay, more questions. Oh, now we're talking. Now Tab put down the cents even, but you don't have to do the cents, but I like it. Let's see, Christy, I just sold one of the items I had listed as FBM. Do you check different shipping costs through Amazon? So I personally always look on Amazon, but yes, you can check that little, there's like a see more options, and you can see more, like it just has to get there within the dates that you have. If for some reason the shipping seems just outlandish, like sometimes I always use this example of Wyoming. There are some places where like the post office just won't deliver, and Wyoming, rural Wyoming seems to be the place I always get. And so it only will give you UPS as an option, and sometimes UPS can be very expensive. So if that's the case, I always go to private, I don't know what's it called, pirate ship, and I just put in the address and I see what it's going to cost there. If it's the same as I could get from Amazon, then I just go with the Amazon, because you have the added protections of an A to Z claim. And if the carrier loses your package, you'll get reimbursed. Whereas if you go through pirate ship, you could still be reimbursed, but you have to personally go through the post office or whoever you bought the shipping through to make a claim. So I always just go through Amazon if at all possible. But sometimes it's cheaper, or I've accidentally bought the wrong label once on Amazon, and I was able to get the money refunded for the shipping, but it wouldn't let me buy another label, so I had to go through pirate ship. So it comes up time to time, but that's what I would do. But yeah, you can see the different costs. And this happened in Q4 group. If it costs, like, someone pays for the shipping to get it by a certain date, so say someone wants it by Friday, and you can ship it UPS ground for $10 and it gets there on Friday, or you can do it $30 for 3 days and it gets there on Friday. I'd be doing the $10 one because it's still going to get there on Friday. So as long as it gets there in time. Wendy asked, how do we get paid? I'm selling and have over $200, but it keeps saying I have 0. when I click pay me. Okay, so what it's okay on your app, if you see it says $200, if you scroll over a little bit more, it'll say the date that it's going to pay you that $200. And there's something going on between the app and the Amazon dashboard, because right now and for the last like 3 or 4 months in the Amazon dashboard, it'll say whatever how much money I have, and it says that's what it'll pay me right now, but it's not, because if I look in the app and hit pay now, it will tell me the actual amount that I would get. So there's some glitch happening on the Amazon payments dashboard on your desktop version. But if you go on the desktop version, it will have the flow chart and it'll break down like what's available now, what's in your reserve, what's going to be. So your reserve will come up to your available when the next payment is. I'm going to back up and do this from the start. Okay, so Amazon payouts happen every 2 weeks from your available balance. So your available balance is, so you have $200 you sold, but maybe the item hasn't arrived to the customer yet. So how it works is 7 days after the product is delivered to the customer. So if I get a product today, that seller's not going to get the money for 7 more days after today. At that point, the available balance will move into your, or sorry, that sale will move into your available balance, and you should be able to hit pay me now. New sellers always have higher reserves because they're keeping the money in case there's a return, a chargeback, you're new, they don't necessarily know you, all that kind of stuff. I still have it. You're always going to have a reserve, but it will just start to feel like less over time. So I would go to your desktop and just see what it says as like your payday and like what it will be. And I don't know if it's just mine that's broken or if they're all broken, but mine says the same amount. Whether it is, I don't know if that was helpful, but it will come eventually. It just takes a little while. Okay. Andrea asked, these are text questions again. How much time on average per week do you spend sourcing? And I think you guys may already know this, but I source literally all day. So I'll go 1 day a week. This is my normal. Sometimes I might do a little bit less. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna do a half day sourcing, but I'll go like literally from like 5 or 6 in the morning. I'll leave the property and then I'll get back like 6 or 7 at night. Just depends how the day goes. In the summer, it's fine because I don't really like to drive around at night because of all the deer. But in the summer, since it doesn't get dark till like 9 or 10, then I'll be out later. But I just go all day hard because I don't have like a 9 to 5 job that I'm clocking into and all that kind of stuff. So it really varies by seller and whether they consider it full-time, part-time. I'm only doing it part-time, so I go out once a week, every other week right now. During Q4, I go out every week because my business is, and you'll also see this because I just filmed the video today on Sunday. My business is really Q4 heavy, and I'm fine with that. So my sales are maybe not as great this time of year, but it's fine because I'm gonna make it up on the back end. That's how much. So how often do you guys source every week? Like on average, would you say how many hours? So I don't know how many hours that is, but I'm all day. Jay, what's your strategy for when you run through clearance at certain stores? Do you go aisle by aisle at Walmart? So the Walmart clearance has been really great lately. I will scan. I've over time I know like certain brands or categories that I don't want to scan or don't want to sell, but I will scan everything on the Walmart clearance aisle except for like they're like generic party goods, which they may be there. I'm just overlooking them. Um, at the rest of the store, like at Walmart specifically, I'm really just sourcing the toys. Sometimes I'll do the coffee aisle, depends how I feel that day. Um, always go through the clearance aisle. And you guys, I'm really excited because I like gardening, but all the summer or spring stuff is starting to come out. So I'm definitely scanning all of that stuff because people might be ready to buy it already online and they can't find it in store yet. So I definitely am scanning all of that kind of stuff. As far as the other clearance at other stores, like grocery stores have great clearance. So I would definitely be checking them out. Target is kind of hard because it's usually just on the back end caps of stuff, but I'll scan it when I see it. What are some others? Oh, Marshalls and TJ Maxx, they just are on their way out of their big clearance markdown, and I'll scan all that, but that stuff's usually like kind of beat up, but I'll like look for the nicer looking stuff. I look for stuff I know I've sold before. That's how I kind of do it. I don't focus a whole lot on clearance except for at Walmart, but I think as a new seller, it's a great way because you're able to find stuff that's marked down a little more. And not only that, at Walmart clearance specifically, you have basically the whole store of categories. And so you'll start to identify like, oh, wait, I can sell pet stuff. Maybe I should go scan the pet stuff. And not just Walmart, but all the other stores. Okay. Rachel asked, how do you find wholesalers? And I saw someone else asked, do I wholesale, Enrique? So I'm getting into it, but not really. So no one's really going to give you a wholesale account. You can ask as much as you want. They're not really going to give it to you. People sell like lists of, I could get a whole bunch of distributors and sell you a list too. It's at the end of the day, it comes down to literally cold calling, door knocking, making a relationship. I'm not going to ASD, but if you are going to go, that's the show in Vegas next month. Don't go into it just looking for straight, I just bit my lip, for straight like accounts to sell one-to-one. Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. Okay. But instead, go look at it to make relationship with the vendors, chat them up, get to know, will they sell to Amazon sellers? What are their policies? Like a lot of distributors, you can just Google. I found one just by Googling randomly last week. I wasn't trying to find them. I was trying to find a specific item, and this distributor popped up. I've called them and I'm close to getting an account with them. And it literally, and again, it's a distributor. Distributor accounts are very easy to get, but getting someone who, the reason they're easy is they're not made for online sellers. They're made for stores, and stores have a lot more room and margin because online we're competing with Amazon and every other one else is low prices. But in store, you can, like if you go to Kohl's and the toys are really expensive and you're like, that's crazy, I can get a half price at Amazon. So that's the reason that distributors pricing is basically the same as Amazon's pricing. So those accounts are easy to get. Now the back door, side door, whatever you want to call it, method is to create your own listings with them, make your own bundles with them, because then you're not just trying to compete one-to-one, you're doing something different and you're able to make your own listing, which you can charge more for. So definitely think of it as networking and just getting to know them, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So you definitely want to get into it. I do not recommend buying any wholesale courses. I've done that. I could tell you everything that they're going to tell you in the course, which is make a website, get your LLC, here, email all these people 50 times a day, blah, blah, blah. That's all you got to do. And it's a numbers game. Eventually, it's kind of like online arbitrage or retail arbitrage. It's a numbers game. The more you knock, the more you email, the more possibilities that you're going to get a yes. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm just saying it's not as easy as people maybe want to sell you a course on. So that's why, like, literally finding wholesalers, you can Google them, you can look on Facebook, you can, wherever you want to search, you could probably go to like your Chamber of Commerce and see like what manufacturers you have here, all that kind of stuff. Rachel also said, I want to be making $10,000 a month. Is that doable with retail arbitrage? Or should I be moving towards online arbitrage? And when I answered this in the text, I was thinking 10,000 a month gross sales, which is very possible with retail arbitrage. It's actually possible with retail arbitrage to make that much profit. But again, it's how much product you have to sell. The more money you have to start and plug in and dump into your inventory, the more you're going to be able to sell. However, if you're going to start with a lot of money, you're going to probably make a really lot of bad buys because you haven't fully learned the process yet. So I think retail arbitrage, no matter what model you want to do down the road, is a great entryway into Amazon to just learn how Amazon works and then see what's working. What's working for me is making my own listings and making my own bundles. And so guess where my business is going? I'm going to be making my own listings and making my own bundles more and more. But I love retail arbitrage, so I'm never going to stop that. But to really like scale. Online arbitrage is great if you like it. If you don't like it, it's not going to be a lot of fun. It just kind of goes with that hand in hand. And then she also said, do I need a bookkeeper if I'm using Inventory Lab? Is that enough? However you're keeping track, you don't need a bookkeeper. If you're doing it yourself, you can do it with a spreadsheet. You could do it with Inventory Lab. You could do it with Seller Board. You could do it however you want to do it. So you don't need a bookkeeper necessarily if you're able to track it some other way. Okay, now I'm back to these comments in the chat here. Then we're going to get into the fun fees. Tom asks, so if a brand has a bundle, let's say 22-ounce bottles, and we have a great buy on 18-ounce bottles, it's not listed, you could create a new listing for the brand's new size. Yes, the issue comes to creating a listing with the brand on it, and that's why in my bundle video, the Bundles 101, I go over how to make it generic, because I've tried, and definitely try it yourself. I've tried to make it with the actual brand on it because I don't want to necessarily do generic if I don't have to, but it asks you for a UPC, and every UPC I could find by the brand I was trying to make was already taken on Amazon by, the single listing. So, but in any case, you could do a generic for sure. How many items do you send in FBA? Okay, well, normally, it's a great question. Normally, I say you want to have at least 30. My always advice is like 30 items so that you're not losing all your profit on the shipping. But these new Amazon inbound fees are going to change things up a bit to where you could lose your profit on an item if you only have like 2 pairs of shoes, for example. So it kind of depends. But with FBA, especially when you're starting, you just want to get it in and get it out the door. Like that's the big win as far as whether it sells and how much profit you make. It will hopefully eventually sell and you'll make money on it, but you're going to learn a lot just by getting it out the door and doing the process. So definitely recommend just doing that to begin with. What's your R's? Oh, I already did that one. Okay. I don't do, well, I do eBay, but I don't have a 1099. Do you guys use the 1099? Okay, so you don't necessarily need, even from Amazon, that 1099 when you do your taxes is like the starting point. Just like if you got a W-2, it's like that's how much they say they paid you. That's your starting point. And now you got all your deductions that come off of it. The benefit of being a business versus personal is personal, you only have so many deductions, right? You can take. I mean, there's probably a lot. But like if you didn't donate any money to anyone, all this stuff, there's only so many donations you can take. Write-offs you can take. But if you're a business, there's so many write-offs that you can take. That's one of the benefits that I don't think people really talk about of being a business owner. So many write-offs to where you can actually, the first 4 or 5 years of selling on Amazon, I actually got a return every year because of all the different write-offs that you can take. So the 1099 is like your W-2. It's just your starting point, and then you're going to do all your write-offs of everything after that. So whether or not you got one doesn't totally matter. The account payments repository report, which this is in my video for this year, 2024. It's actually, I have a blog post too, if you'd rather see it in blog form of how to pull that. That's going to tell you all the fees that you did. So same as, I don't know how to do it on eBay as far as the fees you paid, but as far as the 1099, it's still good. You're going to have all your costs of goods that you're going to take out of it and everything. So as long as you have some accounting of it somewhere, you should be good. Any tips for ungating been denied multiple times? They are on, it's one of those tougher times. It goes ebbs and flows. It's currently a tougher time for ungating than normal. But then, of course, some people are like, yeah, no problem. So as long as you have a real invoice from a real supplier, they don't take store receipts. So just as long as you have an invoice that has all the details, just keep throwing it back to them, reply back to them. Like this is what I had to do on an invoice lately. they were like, this is not an invoice. And I was like, yes, it is. And I grabbed those little like 5 things every invoice has to have, and I put it back and I said, this is the date, this is the how many, this is what's on it. And so just keep fighting back with them. You know, when you get an invoice and it says like, and they close it because they say you keep submitting it. So that's what I had to do, was back to them as I was like, I'm not keeping submitting it. You're not opening it. This is a new a new invoice. Here's everything, and just keep fighting with them. Make sure you're using, every time you talk to Amazon, use their policy back to them. That is the most efficient and fastest way to get through to them. So you go to stores to source, or do you use online source? Personally, I like going into stores, but I've been doing a lot of online arbitrage of lately. I've been using the OA Express lead list, so they should have a new list out tomorrow if you want to grab it. I do text them out. I don't text, they come out every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I do not always text them out. I think I only text out 1 or maybe 2 a week, but they're always available every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at the OA Express. Jay, what do you say? Retail arbitrage is, so it's harder, which I don't enjoy saying at all, because it doesn't need to be. So I'm in 8 years now, I think, or in my 8th year. And it's only harder because everyone, all these new sellers, I don't know if they're new or what, but this new trend of just taking the price. And that's why it is harder now than it used to be. Like, if you've seen my sourcing videos, I talk about it, but like I could be replanning stuff that in years past I would be replanning, but because of the price tanking that everyone, I don't even know if, I wish I could understand the reasoning, because then it wouldn't bug me as much, but it's the not knowing what the heck are these people doing and why are they tanking the price that drives me insane. But yeah, that's the only reason it's harder. The stuff is still there. It's just, unfortunately, instead of being able to just go replan, like go on a shopping trip, and I'm scanning anything that's new, but I'm also replanning stuff that I've sold in the past, I'm having to look for all new stuff. It's like starting over every week I go sourcing, because the replens are just not there as much. So please, if you're watching this and you are on social media with your Amazon account, amazing. Share everything you want to, but stop sharing what you're actually buying and selling right now, because it is helping no one. No one. I have never shared in any of my videos what I'm actually selling while I'm selling it, because I don't want the stuff to tank. So if you share on social media, TikTok, wherever you are, please do not share what you're actually buying and selling, because it doesn't matter how few followers you have. It only takes 1 or 2 people to ruin a listing by tanking the price. That is my TED Talk for the night. Okay. Okay, we're gonna keep on price taking, Carrie. So Easter, okay, any seasonal item, it's going to be hot. Yeah, Valentine's Day was last week, right? So it's hot right now, but I would be FBMing it, because it's, by the time you get it into the warehouse, it's going to start tanking until Easter is the 31st of March, until either after Easter or right up close to Easter, when all the tankers have sold out. So it's in early or out late model for anything seasonal. Is it still worth selling on Amazon? Yes, absolutely. I not going anywhere. It's always hard in the beginning, because there's people out there who make it seem easy. But just like, I can't remember who the question was, but how she's got $200 and it's like no money's coming back yet. It takes 4 to 6 weeks before you ever see anything substantial pay out more than $50 from Amazon when you're selling. And now you've put 4 to 6 weeks of all your hard energies, your frustrations, all this money you poured into it, and you're not really getting anything back. That's how it is for everyone. It's hard to find products in the beginning. It's always hard. And so there's the ones who make it through and then don't tank the price, are the ones who will be persisting. Okay, we're gonna get to the, because this is gonna be a long, let me pull up my note over here. The FBA fees. So these are I made a short link because for the life of me, I could not find it in Seller Central. So if you go to, the short link is, if you ever need it, you go to yoursellingguide.com/2024 FBA, all caps, because that's how my redirects work. It's going to take you to the page I'm talking about on Seller Central. Also, if you're watching on your phone, I'm going to be talking about stuff on your phone, but so just save it and you can look at it when you're not watching this on your phone. So the inbound FBA shipping fees, these were super buried in the emails that they sent out in December. So I was able to find it in my emails from December 5th and December 22nd. It goes into place on March 1st, and inventory placement, as we know it, will be gone. So you may or may not know about inventory placement, but inventory placement is usually, I always recommend it to newer sellers when they're just starting and they don't have a lot. But that was where you could have your stuff go to one warehouse or one or two warehouses instead of being split among a bunch of warehouses. And the reason is because obviously you save on shipping, right? If you can send it to fewer, but Amazon charged a fee for that. So there's a fee per unit. So that is no longer a thing. As of March 1st, it will be going away from your, we're going to get into this, but into the dashboard. So there's a lot of FBA shipping fees that are rolling out and they're not clear at all. Okay, but this is what the email says. Just hopefully this will make it a little bit easier. It says, we will introduce an inbound placement fee for standard and large bulky size items. Most of the products we're sending in are probably standard. Large bulky, we know what large bulky is, right? To reflect the cost, blah, 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 of what they have to pay. We will give you the option to pay I'm not good at public reading. We will give you an option to pay reduced fees or even no fees based on whether you send your shipment to a single location or multiple locations. These fees go into effect on March 1st, and you will get the fee 45 days after, and that comes into play on the second one. Okay, so then they're saying as a way to be like, see, it's not so bad. We're decreasing the FBA fulfillment fees for standard size products by 20 cents per unit and large bulky size by 61 cents per unit. These fees will apply starting April 15th. Now, the reason they got that April 15th date is that's 45 days after the March 1st date. So that's when the decreased fees will be, because I was like, well, why wouldn't you just do it at the same time? That's how that is working. Okay. You do have a way to get discounted fees if you, a couple of them in this, the website I was talking about, it talks about like, if you send your stuff in when the product, it's called, what is it? Ships in packaging. It's like SSIP or SIPP or something, where if you mark it, and I have never seen a way to mark this in Seller Central or an Inventory Lab, but apparently if you mark it, that it'll ship in the packaging. So normally this is for like large items. Like I got a lamp from Target, it shipped in the box. You could tell it was a lamp. Personally, as a customer, I absolutely hate that. I do get it for like big things, it makes sense, but for other things, they'll ship it right in the packaging, which is just awful because you can't return it because the sticker's on it. So there's a way you can do that, and you'll save on fees that way if they ever make it easy for us to figure out how to do that. That ships and packaging is already in effect. So like I said, I've never seen it. So if you guys have seen it. Amazon says in the email that went out on December 5th, which is where everyone saw the low inventory fee, but apparently just disregarded this fee. The average you can expect is 15 cents an item increase on Amazon FBA fees. So it's not like, oh, crazy, this new inbound shipping fees. You can just estimate 15 cents, which is not a whole lot, but of course it's eating into our fees. So, and when you make a shipment on March 1st, and I'm going to get into the Inventory Lab users in a second. When you make a shipment on March 1st, you'll have two options. The minimal shipment splits, where you can send your inventory to minimal inbound warehouses, generally a single location, although I wouldn't count on it. And then they'll do the spreading. So it's kind of how it is now, kind of. Or you can do the partial or Amazon optimized shipments, and then your inventory will be sent to a bunch of different warehouses for a reduced or no fee. The reduced fee will depend on the shipments and inbound location that you send it to. So in further reading on this page, they do penalize sending it out west, which I don't know why. I know everything's more expensive out west, but if you don't send it west, your shipping fees will be slightly less, or your inbound fees. These aren't even the shipping costs. Your shipping to Amazon is going to get more expensive as you send it. I have heard of sellers in the community who are already inventory lab, they're all inventory lab users, are already getting the multiple shipment splits. So I don't know if there's something on the back end that inventory lab is doing, but they're already seeing lots of different warehouses being split off more than normal. It does say if you're sending, where was what I read? You'll pay a reduced fee, but if you select the partial one, you will see where it's all going to go before you do it, and you will see the estimation of your fees in your shipment while you're doing it. You can, so even if you select the partial one, which is supposed to be less reduced fees, right? But then there's going to be another option in there where you want to, oh, just kidding, I want to consolidate, then you're going to, of course, get the fees. Here's what I wanted to call out on it. The one thing number was the western part of the country. They already are telling you inbound placement service fees may be generally lower for shipments sent to locations out of the western part of the country. So if you're sending stuff already not really west, you should be okay. If you create a shipping plan which has apparel, shoes, hazmat, we already know those go to different places, right? But Amazon's telling you they're now going to charge you for them doing it for you. So if you're going to make a shipment of clothes and shoes, I would absolutely, or dangerous goods, split that up. Just do 2 different shipments. Don't put it all in one, which is how I'm sure you have been, and that's how I have been doing it. Because my shipment last week or the week before, I had a bunch of shoes, and they all went to different warehouses, which wasn't a big deal. I already knew they were going to, but they, instead of just to one, it went to 3 different ones. So Amazon's telling us from the start, if you take those out, so you take out the apparel, you take out the shoes, you do those as their own shipping, you are going to maybe not have to send it to as many warehouses and not get these fees. They're telling us to do it that way, so you got to believe them to do it that way. Otherwise, we're going to pay more in fees. New sellers who create their first shipments with this, within 90 days of their listing their offers, you get $400 in credits for these fees. So that's awesome. You also get, as a new seller, $100 in shipping credits. So they're definitely helping new sellers out in that way. You can estimate, okay, you can view your estimated inbound placement fees. I am going to do a whole podcast more broken out and also write a blog on this because it is a lot, and pull out the key points that matter to us. But if you view the estimated inbound service fees in your shipments on your shipment summary page, the total fees for each shipment will be shown in the estimated fee section. This will apply to all shipments, including those that are third-party API or whatever they call it. Okay, this is where you need your app. So in your app, just go click on anything that you've scanned recently. And if you go into where you would look at the profit, if you click on the fulfillment fee section, you'll see that there's a bunch of different things you can add to it. And one of them is this inbound placement fee. So it's telling you in the app already, so you can toggle it on and it'll add it to your thing. I could not find a place where I can just set it to always be toggled on. So that's unfortunate. The app is always having issues where it's not as user-friendly. But if you are worried about like a large item, or like one of the ones I looked at today was a kinetic sand, it's kind of heavy because it's sand, but it wasn't all that big. And they were going to charge 70 cents on that one. So it's definitely worth noting, if your profit margin is already slim when you scanned it and you think it's heavy or bulky or whatever, just maybe click and toggle that on and take a look. So that's how you can see in the app. For third-party people like me who use the inventory lab, So it's not there right now, but on March 1st, it will be there. You go to your FBA settings, so your settings and then fulfilled by Amazon and the inbound settings. It's always been there and you'll see it right now. It has inventory placement and the other one, I think it's like the default distributed. They will have in there where we're going to turn it on inbound placement option for marketplace web services API section. So we'll be able to set our settings there, which will translate over into Inventory Lab. I could not find anything on Inventory Lab that fully explained it, how it was going to work, but Amazon did say it will be there. So on March 1st, we will be heading into our settings to do that. So that was a whole lot. But those, I'm actually more worried about that than I am about the low-level inventory fee, because this is actually something that is going to affect where the low level has not a whole lot of, it may or may not affect. I did share a story on Instagram at Your Selling Guide from someone who, James, who did an infographic on that low level fee. So definitely head over there and check it out because it really clearly breaks down. And I was like, yay, I don't have to try and explain it anymore. This infographic explains it all. So check that out. Yes, Christy, they make no sense. It's like Amazon, everything is just so difficult. And no one's really talking about it. So the fees always go up. I mean, at the end of the day, if it goes up 15 cents an item, it's not that big a deal. Like if they're saying across the board, this is how much it will be. I don't really sell a lot of oversized, bulky stuff anyways. I do sell a lot of standard size stuff though. And so it could be something to just note. Oh yeah, Brian. I think it was, I know I could picture myself. I know where I was. I was in Oklahoma City. I was sitting outside of a TJ Maxx and I was just over it because I saw all the stuff that I bought 2 weeks ago that I could be replanning and sending more in. But in 2 weeks, I had already tanked it. And so I was just mad. I want to give a huge shout out to all my little BFFs out there. I know a lot of you have your kids who watch, and I just want to say hi because they all know me, and I just think it's so cute and funny, and I just can't believe that like y'all's family know me too. So just hi to my littlest BFFs. I'm so happy you're watching, and one day you're going to be an Amazon seller too, just like your mom, dad, aunt, sister, brother, whoever it is that you're watching with. I don't use Seller Central to do my shipments, and I haven't in probably 2 years now. I use Inventory Lab for a lot of different reasons. Inventory Lab makes the shipment process way faster. There's like, I don't even fully use it the whole way you can use it, but I started using buy lists last year during Q4, and when you use the Scoutify app with the buy list function, you just put the store, the price you paid for it, what you want to list it at, and then you import that buy list when you're doing your shipment. It's got everything now. You don't have to sit there and manually list everything because it's already in that buy list and it's imported. So it cuts out, 2 to 4 hours of listing time that you would normally have. There's a way to do box contents where you would scan, I have a product, I scan it, put it in the box. It knows what's in that box now. It knows how much the box weighs. They'll tell you when it's getting to 50 pounds. So it definitely can cut off a lot of time by doing your shipment. And I used Seller Central for shipments forever, for probably 4 or 5 years, because it's free. I knew how to do it. Everyone kept telling me, you're going to love Inventory Lab. You need to be using Inventory Lab. I'm here to tell you that they were right. It is an extra fee and it's not exactly cheap, but it is super helpful and it can help cut down on your shipping prep times a lot. I also don't have as many issues. Like in Seller Central, a shipment would go wonky and it would always be like at the end of a shipment or like when you're just over it. And I don't have those issues really since using Inventory Lab. Oh, Jay said a strategy for in-store. So in the beginning, okay, you're the one who asked if it was harder now. So it's always hard in the beginning, and that's why I recommend the Walmart clearance aisle, because especially, I don't really scan a lot at just regular grocery stores unless I'm looking for a specific item, and it's usually coffee. because there's so much to scan. But when you go to like a smaller store, even like a TJ Maxx or Marshalls, I scan the beauty products, I scan the toys, I scan the kids' clothes sometimes if I'm feeling like it, I scan the home goods stuff, the kitchen stuff, but it can feel like a lot. And honestly, if you're just not feeling it that day, if you gave it your all and you're just over it, it might be time to just call it for that day or that store and try something else. Because there are times, especially now, like this time of year, the stores are getting rid of a lot of stuff. So there's clearance, they're switching their planograms to the spring stuff. So there's a lot of movement and transition, and there's sometimes can feel like there's just not a lot in the stores. And so that can make sourcing harder. That's also why I don't like beat myself up over when my shipments are like maybe not as good as they could be, because it just is what it is. And I know in the back half of the year in Q4, when everything sells, that it'll make up for it. But yes, so it can be hard. And you have to change something. So if you're, even if you've been like me, if you've been selling for a while, you got to change something up. So I got tired of my same old stores that I was sourcing. So I decided to go to I went to a new state and a new city. That didn't really work out. So then I'm now looking for liquidators and discount stores. I'm trying my hand at OA. You just have to like change something up. It could be for a day, it could be for a month. Just try something different, because if you keep going down the same road that's ending in a brick wall, it's not going to suddenly be a door, right? So you just have to do something different. Learn a new skill. Maybe you want to learn tactical arbitrage. Maybe you want to learn the accounting side of something, like say, okay, I'm not going to source this week. I'm going to do an office week. Get rid of, I have so many Amazon returns that I have to go through and see what they are. Like that's a whole day in itself. There's other things you can do to like give sourcing a rest for a day or two, and then go back at it when you're feeling a little better. Because especially if you're just not in it that day anyways, it's not gonna end that great, right? Ashlyn, when you shop, what do you use to check if it's a good deal or not? I actually did a video last week on this question specifically, and it was a long video. My videos keep getting longer and longer. But I use the Amazon app, I use Keepa, and I use Scoutify to check the profit and to make my buy lists. But I do have that full video. I do not. Celeste asked, do you have any experience with fee recovery companies? I don't, but I've been meaning to test some out. So if you guys use them, please drop them in the comments, because I've been meaning to test some out. Can't even think of the one. But a lot of them, they just charge a percentage of the money they get back, so it doesn't cost you anything, and they only get paid when they get your money back, so that's good. Any other questions on the fees? Let me type out the link here. I can post it. So that's the link to, it'll redirect you to the Amazon inbound shipping fees, so that you can read it for yourself. If the top is just gibberish, but if you scroll down to the use case points, it's a little bit easier to understand. Is Scoutify similar to Seller Amp? Yeah, it shows your profit and everything. So Seller Amp is I've been using it for online arbitrage, because you can link to a Google Sheet and track your stuff that way. I don't use it in store. It has a lot of information, and I have noticed, based on questions and chat in the community, that people are leaning way too much into the information that it's providing. Like, it doesn't mean it's private label just because it thinks it's private label. It doesn't mean it's an IP just because it's coming up as IP. I don't know how or what they're using. I don't think they're using IP alert for it. And even IP alert is not foolproof, because it's user generated. It's got great information, and when I get IPs, I send them to them so that they can update it, and that's how it is, user generated, but nothing is foolproof. So I would be using Keepa, your better judgment on everything, because there's ways to tell, like, is this really private label? are they going to issue? There's ways you can read into the products and know for yourself, as far as just don't take everything they say blindly. I posted a bolo because Scoutify was down last week, and I had to use Seller Amp to post the bolo to show the profit. And it was showing the rank as one thing, and the Amazon app was showing the rank as something else. So it's not always 100% accurate. I would only use tools for what they are, is to give you information, but you ultimately need to make your buying decision. So as far as if you use a seller app, Scoutify or Seller Amp, they are all great, and it's whatever you like the best. For me, Seller App is just too slow and clunky, and I still use the Amazon Seller App because it's the only way to scan the front of packages, like to look for bundle listings. And I do that so much that if I was only scanning barcodes, I would not be having a lot of product to sell, because not a lot of products come up with the barcode scan. You can find way better listings by using the Seller App. Yeah. Alicia, my question is FBA returns. Customer returned the item because it arrived damaged through UPS. I use Amazon. Yes, you should be able to file a safety claim for that because you purchased it. If you ever get a message from a customer that says they would like to return it because it's damaged by the carrier, I always ask the customer to do an A to Z claim because it's faster, and then they'll get their money back. I'll get my money back, and then Amazon gets the money from the carrier. So I would just do that first. But if they've already returned it and the reason was carrier damage, absolutely do a safety claim, because that's the reason you purchased the shipping through Amazon in the first part, is to have that carrier protections. I think I got all the questions. Tom, the name, that's so funny. My dad's name is Tom. The name is Tammy Tankers. It used to be Ricky because that was the first one I saw on a video. I have an upcoming video where it's Brenda tanking. So it is who they are. It was like Ricky's was the first one, but we have to go with things that rhyme, right? Any other questions, you guys? If you're not in the Bolo group, I highly recommend joining. If you're going to be in Dallas or you want to be in Dallas, come hang out April 13th. The Bolo group hangout is, let me pull up my calendar, March 13th. So that's Wednesday. If you're going to join the Bolo group, we'll be hanging out there. If you join it now, you get the recording from the one we had last week. Timmy. We'll call him Timmy. Timmy Tankers. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to hopefully seeing you in Dallas, but I'll be back next month for another hangout here as well if I don't see you in the Bolo group, or come hang out with me on Instagram at Your Selling Guide. I'm there all the time. So yeah, thanks all. Have a great night.